Welcome to the Nebraska Prep Zone podcast. Stu Pospisil with Mike Patterson. And Mike, we're going to batter it up this week, and Major League start and high schools are well underway.
That's right. My Royals, your Cubs.
Cubs won the last exhibition game between the two. I've got that going for me.
True.
And the Cubs have Eric Hosmer now.
I know, that hurts me because I like the Haas. He was instrumental in the Royals' 2015 World Series title. And yes, he is with the Cubs now, but things
maybe there's
move on.
Hopefully not an ex-Royals factor the way there was an ex-Cubs factor for all those years.
That's true. I don't know if we have any ex-Cubs on the Royals, so perhaps this will be a good thing.
Maybe it'll be good for all of us. So
we'll see.
Anyway, who's sitting on top of the ratings right now?
Well, no surprise, Stu. Millard West, our preseason #1 defending champion. Wildcats still have not been beaten. Started this week 5-0, 3-0 here in Nebraska. Went down to Kansas City, won a couple of games down there. So the Wildcats of Steve Fry still on top, and I saw them play last week against Millard South, rematch of that Class A final last year, and boy, it was all Millard West that game. I know it's really early, but they really put it to the Patriots on Millard South's home field. So
tell me about Jackson Williams, because obviously we worked for his grandfather, Steve Sinclair. We know him more as a football player, but how is he as a baseball pitcher?
Right. Well, he had a nice outing. Of course, he had a lot of offense that he could rely on, even though that game was pretty close for the first few innings. I think Jackson went 4 innings, struck out 7. Allowed 1 real scratch infield hit. So he did a really nice job. He got the win. Like I said, they gave him a lot of runs. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he did a nice job. I think he might have picked a runner off first base at some point too. So yeah, it was all Wildcats, and Jackson did a nice job.
Okay, who else is contending right now? Who's hot?
Well, the team I wrote about this week, Stu, was Papio South, Bill Lynham's squad.
Yep.
In their first 4 games, they were averaging 13 runs. So you're going to come away with probably 4 victories if you do that. And the Titans did that. They've got several players back. They narrowly missed the state tournament last year, lost to Prep in a district final. So they've got that motivation going for them. They got several solid players. They got a sophomore named Danny Wallace. He's gotten an offer from Nebraska already.
Okay.
And other Division I schools. They have a lot of really quality seniors on their team. So I think the Titans are a team to watch. We started them 7th in the preseason, but off to their great start, they jumped up to number 3.
Okay.
So we talked about Millard West at 1 and Papio South at 3. Let's talk about the number 2 team.
Please do.
Bellevue West, the T-Birds of Jason Schock. He started off 5-1. Their only loss was to Millard West.
Correct.
So they started at number 5, and by the strength of that strong start, Bellevue West is number 2.
Okay. Who rounds out the top 10, and who's the top in B this week?
Well, let's start at number 4, Millard South. Number 5 is Prep. 6 is Millard North. 7 is Elkhorn South. 8, Papio. 9, Lincoln Pius the 10th. And number 10 is Lincoln East. Spartans have really come on in the last few years, and no surprise that they're in the top 10 again. Millard West, number 1 in Class A. Surprise here in Class B, Omaha Gross started number 8 in Class B in the preseason, but they started off 4-1, and one of those wins was over Elkhorn North, the defending champion, and our preseason number 1. So on the strength basically of that win, the Cougars are number 1 of Jim Hempel. And Elkhorn North checks in at number 2 in Class B. And Omaha Scud at number 3. And need to touch on Class C, which we have this year. Malcolm started number 1 preseason off the strength of a really good Class B year last year. Had a nice American Legion season. Malcolm has yet to be beaten, so they are number 1. They're off to a 3-0 start. And boy, it's a good time to be a Clipper, I think. They're just got a lot of quality basketball teams and baseball. And
I think it's helped that Malcolm has moved up into the Trailblazer Conference. where you have a mix of B and C1, and actually Malcolm is C2 in some sports. But I think that's really going to pay off for the Clippers. They've got a good program down there. Dallas Sweet's buddy of ours, and is directing that program, has good coaches across the board. And, I think with their proximity to Lincoln, they're going to be, kind of the Bennington, Gretna type team like Waverly and Norris. Those Suburbans have Lincoln surrounded.
I think Malcolm is a kind of school that really benefits from the addition of Class C, because they made the Class B district final last year, but they had to play at Elkhorn North. Really tough assignment for Malcolm, which was one of the smallest.
That was a pretty good game, wasn't it?
If not the smallest. It was close for a little while. The Wolves eventually pulled away.
Okay.
But Elkhorn North went on to win the state title, so it shows you what a tough row they had to hoe last year. But yeah, Class C Malcolm, #1 right now.
Okay. Well, in boys and girls soccer, Nick Rubik will re-rank midweek this week. Right now in Class A, you've got Gretna and Omaha Central, Lincoln Southwest, and Columbus undefeated. Gretna's going to play Millard South, which is #2 in the point standings, on Saturday at noon. With Class B boys, you have Schuyler. Good start for the Warriors there. Bennington 6-0. Omaha Scott 3-0. Scotus, Crete, and Grand Island Northwest 3-0. One of the newcomers, Madison, 1-0. So there's some undefeateds in Class B boys. On the girls' side, Gretna, last year's undefeated champion, continues to roll, 3-0. Lincoln Southwest, Lincoln East, Burke, Bellevue West are all undefeated in Class A girls. In Class B, Omaha Roncalli leads the point standings at 3-0. Rah, rah.
Hooray.
Lincoln Lutheran and the Raymond Central Co-op is also undefeated. So is Omaha Duchesne, Elkhorn North, Lexington, Grand Island Northwest, and Scotus. So you got a lot of teams still with clean sheets, as they say in soccer.
True. Who'd you say leads the wild card points there?
That'd be the Crimson Pride of Omaha Roncalli.
Just wanted to make sure.
I'm sure that they are going to have some tough competition coming up in the River Cities, because you have Duchesne up there, you have Omaha Mercy 3-1, Omaha Scott's at 1-1, but Scott's always going to be around at the end with John Carlson. So,
yeah, one of the interesting boys soccer stories in Class A, and I'm sure Nick will address this, and I'm not positive, but I think I saw that Prep started 0-3, which is very uncharacteristic for the Junior Jays.
They had to beat Westside last night to avoid a 0-4 start. The first time they'd ever been 0-3, 0-4 would have been just tumultuous out there. But again, Tom Hoover, he's, as you see in baseball too, I know, Mike, you have differences in schedules, and that's good. You have to have the teams that need some healing to play each other, and you need to have the good teams play each other. And again, I think you look at the point standings now, it's not going to be what they are in a month from now, because you've got teams playing different levels of competition, but that's good. You got to keep kids engaged, and you just can't have the strong beating up on the weak every game, because it doesn't benefit anyone.
Right. And it is still very early, and I'm sure it felt good for Creighton Prep to get that first win and to get it against their perennial rival Westside. So that one win can probably be a nice springboard for the Junior Jays.
Grudge match. So what else is coming up in soccer this week? Thursday night, good doubleheader at Seacrest Field in Lincoln. Lincoln East, Lincoln Southeast, girls at 5:30, boys at 7:30. Friday night, it's Papillion La Vista South at Scott boys. Good cross-class match there at 7:15. And then, as I referred to earlier, Gretna Millard South boys, noon at Buell Stadium, which is under construction. No press box. I can live with that if they can get it done for the fall.
They're still working on it. I told you that when I was out at Millard South. I did want to mention 2 baseball games coming up this weekend, Stu. Friday we got Elkhorn South, which was preseason #2, at Millard West. That's
Ooh.
at 5 o'clock, weather permitting, hopefully. And Saturday is the annual Papio against Papio South game at Werner Park. So that's always a really good one. That's at noon, Saturday, Werner Park, Papio South. And at the time of this taping, both teams are 4-0. So they're both off to a really nice start. And I think it's possible, I was looking at both their schedules between now and Saturday, I think they both might possibly be undefeated by the time they go out to Werner Park and play that game.
Did you look at the weather?
Saturday doesn't look too bad. Friday...
it looks like Thursday night we're talking thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Friday kind of gets windy, but the weekend looks like it might be better. So that'd be great if they could get a decent day and put a couple thousand people in Werner, because that's a great rivalry in baseball.
Right. I'm not so worried about the weather on Saturday and that they'll get that game played out there at Werner Park. But Friday night, Millard West has grass, so we'll see. Again, fingers crossed. That's a long way away from now, but yeah, hopefully they
30 mile per hour winds though in a wind show might preclude pitching as much as these arms are protected nowadays.
I just remember covering a district game out at Millard West last year when that wind was blowing out to left field, and was it A.J. Tauber who had the big home run in the state tournament, hit a home run in that district game, and it bounced off Q Street with that giant wind behind it. So anybody who's been out
What are the best wind pads right now? Launching pads. Obviously that's one. Has Papio South gotten...
That was the one that came to my mind immediately, because when that field was built, it was just up on a hill and it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and there was no press box, no anything around it. And anybody who's been to a Storm Chasers game, when it's chilly, the wind can really come up out that area of the city. So yeah, Papio South was the one that came to my mind, but I covered a lot of windy games. I was at an Elkhorn, the Elkhorn North Malcolm district game last year was incredibly windy. So
I drive past that diamond every day picking up the kids, so I know how it sits up there on the hill. So
hey, we live in Omaha, we get the wind.
Exactly. So managing the wind last week in golf, Mike, we had a great 3-team triangular at Johnny Goodman, the former Applewood, TU. Where Omaha Creighton Prep established that they're going to be in the mix too, along with the likes of Westside and Lincoln East, Southeast, and Millard North, by winning that triangular with Westside and Southeast. So golf capsules and track capsules be online this week, along with stories in the World-Herald, and we got tennis in last week, and we're underway with sports. So we hope that the weather cooperates and you get a chance to go see your favorite team before we meet again here on the Nebraska Prep Zone podcast. For Mike Patterson, I'm Stu Pospisil, and thanks for listening and watching.